I'd like to welcome everybody. Welcome, Gmar Chatima Tova, Shana
גמר
Tova.
חתימה.
I'd like to invite Amanda, Andrew, and Henry Atlas to light the candles to bring in the day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov.
I'd like to invite Josiah Luftig, Lori Robinson, Matthew Pasher, and Naomi Pasher, Alexis, Henry, and Oscar Samuelson to all come up and stand over there next to the ark. Alexis, the Samuelsons. I'd also like to invite Lisa and Mia Travis. Please turn off your phones. And Josiah, you can open the ark, and I invite you all to please rise. I'd like to invite you each to bring into the space one of your ancestors, parent, grandparent, great-grandparent. Oh, Zawal HaTzadik, U'leYisrael Simcha.
Light is planted for the just, and happiness for honest heart.
B'shiva shel ma'ala u'b'yeshiva shel mata על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל. אנו מתירים להתפלל עם עבריינים.
In the presence of the ancestors and in the presence of the living, in this time and in this place, we invite the prayers of crooked hearts and hungry minds.
We're taking the Torah out of the ark in preparation for Kol Nidre. Please join us. We will first hear the Kol Nidre melody, a melody from the 16th century, played on the bass by Saskia. She will hold our community first.
Kol Nidre Vesarei Vecharamei Vekunamei Vechinuyei Vekinusei Ushevuot מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים הבא עלינו שביתים בטלים שאין ולקיימים נידרנה לך נדרי ושרנה לאסרי
Please turn to page 249 as we start our process of asking for forgiveness, for reflecting, for this day of awe. ונסלח לכל בית עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה.
All the promises and the vows and the commitments, what we swore to ourselves that we would do this past year and that we would not do this past year, are hereby annulled. All the promises and the vows, you guys can say this with me. All the promises and the vows and the commitments and what we will swear to ourselves that we will do this coming year and that we will not do this coming year are hereby annulled, scrapped, wiped out, deleted. They don't exist. They are nothing. We are liberated from them all. We are in this moment free.
ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה. סלח נא לעוון העם הזה כגודל חסדך וכאשר נסעת לעם הזה ממצרים ועדנה ושם נאמר ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך. Please join us. שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. We have arrived to this moment. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. You don't have to be, you can be loud. We are have arrived. We have arrived. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו we have our call for prayer. Baruchu et Adonai, page 251.
Before you sit down, take a moment to look at somebody behind you or next to you. Look somebody in the eye. Connect. We're all here. Shechianu.
וקיימנו. And we הגיענו.
Please be seated. Page 252.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בדברו מעריב ערבים חוכמה פותח שערים ותבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים סדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו בורא יום ולילה כולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני יום ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו
אל חי תקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני
המעריב
ערבים. אמן.
We continue silently. Page 254.
In eternal love, you have loved the house of Israel, your people, and everyone on earth. You have taught us to run throats.
ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 256. Invite you to close your eyes for the Shema. You can take a deep breath. Shema ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. That's the one time of the year that we say that line out loud. Try it one more time. ברוך שם כבוד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. Bottom of 256. ואהבת את אדוני
אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה
אשר אנוכי מצווך היום
על לבביך
ושיננת
לבניך
ודיברת בם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך
ובקומך וכתבתם נאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכשבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Hey, are we ready to start our work? And the work can be also joyful. We do have one of the best rhythm sections in town right here. So let them let them get our heartbeats a little. This is Micha Mocha, bottom of page 261. If you are here with us for the first time, welcome. You're always welcome to 999. If you want to add the words of Micha Mocha, please do. But in any case, we want you to participate. This is a prayer.
מיכה מוחה באלים מיכה מוחה נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ובניך בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים צאלי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד איי 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 Close your eyes and just listen to this. Yes. We turn to page 262. We're asking a lot this in the next 25 hours. And on one hand, we're going to ask a lot. We're going to ask for forgiveness and for thought and but then we also have to remember that this is a very special Yom Kippur. This is a Yom Kippur that is in Shabbat. We started on Friday night and we end it in Motzei Shabbat in the Havdalah. It is basically Shabbat Kodesh HaKodashim. It can't get higher in our tradition of the holiness and the holiness meeting together. And so we're going to be sitting in this kind of like duality of the work that we need to do for Yom Kippur and the peace and the tranquility that we're supposed to feel on Shabbat. So we're going to pray for peace. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, bottom of page 262. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ימינו מלכנו תמיד ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך.
ותקננו בעצת
Spread over
טובה
us
ולפניך.
peace-filled sukkah,
והושיענו למען
and over all we love, and all over Jerusalem, and the whole world.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו
And yours.
לחיים ולשלום,
Go with
מעתה
us.
ועד עולם. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
On
page 264, we have the addition for Shabbat. This is when we say we have Shabbat on Yom Kippur. We are also celebrating Shabbat and having the Shabbat and our commitment. This is the melody of Erev Shel Shoshanim, an Israeli song. Some of you might recognize it. We've done it before. So, as we said before, there's no holier than a prayer in the heart or a 999. You don't need to know the words. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We're going to turn to the Amidah in just a moment. That's a central meditative prayer that we have in our tradition, and my feeling right now in this space is a space of meditation. There's a meditative feel in the space right now, which I'm glad we're going to preserve as we move into the Amidah. And so we're going to do one thing a little differently today, which is that normally the ark remains closed during the Amidah. But we are actually going to open it. In a moment I'll ask you to rise and when we open the ark, but we're going to keep the ark open for the entire Amidah because of two things. One is, those of you who were here on Rosh Hashanah may remember that I asked you to bring a question to the oracle. There's going to be different moments over the course of today and tomorrow where you can listen for the answer to that question. Yeah, it's mostly about listening, or maybe you'll see it in the prayers in some of the words. Maybe you'll find a clue there. So we're inviting the oracle now. We're inviting the answer to something that we might need to know about. And then the other reason that we're going to open the ark is because we are joining in this moment with Jewish communities all over the world that heeded a call that came out really today, this morning. There came out a call from the Rishon LeZion, the chief rabbi of Israel, who invited and requested and pleaded with every Jewish community all over the world to open the ark and say a prayer for the hostages in Gaza. And so we're going to do that as well. And as we pray for the hostages in Gaza, we also bring our prayers for whoever you think needs to be prayed for in that suffering and hard place that we know as the Holy Land. So with that, I would like to invite my aunt, Lillian Maurer, who is here, along with all of the Shiner Mowers over there. Hi, Shiner Mowers. It's so awesome that you're here. And I will invite Lillian to please open the ark. All of you to please rise. And what's going to happen is that Dana's going to chant the first blessing of the Amidah, which invites the ancestors into the space, because we need a lot of help from the ancestors these days. And once she's close to finished, when we get to Zochreinu, that's when we're going to say the prayer written by the Rishon LeZion. And from there, after that, you'll hear Dana end that blessing, and then there's going to be a long space of silence. And in that space, you can read from pages 330 all the way through to 356. Or you can continue your silent meditation. בבקשה.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופיה כי תהילתך ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה.
May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors protect and guard our missing brothers and sisters who are in the distress and captivity. May the Holy Compassionate One bring them out of darkness and the shadow of death. May God break their bonds, deliver them from their distress, and bring them swiftly back to their family's embrace. And let us say, Amen.
מי שברך אבותינו ואימותינו, הוא יברך וישמור וינצור את כל אחינו ואחיותינו הנעדרים, הנתונים בצרה ובשביה. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם ויוציאם מחושך וצל מוות, ומוסרותיהם ינתק, וממצוקותיהם יושיעם, וישיבם מהרה לחיק משפחותיהם. ונאמר אמן.
Amen. We are praying זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים. Please remember us to life and for life, the eternal who wants life.
זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וכותבנו בספר החיים למענך אלוהים חיים למענך אלוהים חיים זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וכותבנו בספר החיים למענך אלוהים חיים למענך אלוהים חיים וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים, למענך אלוהים חיים.
We continue silently. יעשה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואימו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו
from Jerusalem, from our sister Kehila of Nava Tehillah. This is a new Aseh Shalom or a newish Aseh Shalom. Please join us in praying for peace. Are you ready?
Gvar Chatima Tova, everybody. We'll take a short break from the songs for a little reflection. One time, I came to a crossroads, some rabbi tells us in the Talmud. Yes. Let's introduce everybody. Thank you, Daphna. You guys heard Trip Dudley over there on the drums. Say hi to Trip. Yeah. Saskia Lane. Dana Hertz. Jonathan Gutfeld. And Daphna Mo. I'm here too. Happy to be here with you all, actually. Very happy. So, as I was saying, one time I came to a crossroads. there was a young child sitting there. I asked him how to get to the city because I'd never been there before. And the kid says, this road is short and long, and that road is long and short. So I took the short and long one, of course, and very quickly I found that I was approaching the city. But that between me and the city, there were all these fields and orchards. So I tried to make my way through them, but got stuck. Tried to climb over something, but it didn't work. And that kept going for a while until I gave up and retraced my steps right back to the crossroads. You told me it's short, I complained. And didn't I tell you it's long too? Said the kid. This is a story that I learned in elementary school about 40 years ago. And it always seemed kind of silly and unimportant to me. I never really got the point. But it also never went away. It was like one of those weird details in a dream that you just hold on to forever. Yeah, it just kept sticking around. And over the years, I occasionally considered it again, and again wrote it off as some kind of kid's tale. This year was the first time that it actually started to sink in. It started to feel ominous. It started to feel relevant and personal. So maybe that's why this past Monday, something interesting happened. Monday, I think you might remember, was October 7th. And I sat with my family from Israel here, my brother's family, and watched the ceremony of the families who lost loved ones or whose loved ones were taken hostage by Hamas on October 7th. Did other people watch that ceremony, the family ceremony? Yeah. So I come out of the ceremony and I sit down to think, well, what is worth saying on the Day of Atonement of the Hebrew year 5785? What could I possibly say that will mean something? And what pops into my mind? This story. What I didn't know until Monday was who this rabbi was who told this story. Yeah, his name was Yoshua ben Hanania, Rabbi Yoshua ben Hanania. He's, as it turns out, he's one of the top tier of my rabbinical heroes. This guy, if the Nushul wasn't turning 25 this year, which it is, and we're very excited about, if it was turning 2000, Rabbi Yoshua would have definitely been a big part of the Nushul. He was a musician. He was a singer. He used to hang with the poets. He lived in the 1st century in Jerusalem, and he was a Levite in the Holy Temple. And he espoused these universalist liberal values that are familiar to us all here at the shul. He believed in love and friendship. He's known for statements like this: hating people takes a person out of the world. Sinat habriot motziah et ha'adam min ha'olam. He believed that certain daily prayers were optional. It's very Nushul. But back then, he was going against the orthodoxy that they wanted all prayers to be strict obligations. He was known to have said this: you can't go to the house of study without offering something new. In other words, if there's an obligation to this guy, it's creativity. Rabbi Yoshua lived through destruction. There was almost no time in his life in which there wasn't a war going on where he lived. He was there during the Roman siege on Jerusalem. He was there when the ultra-nationalists took over his society, and he was powerless, couldn't convince them to leave the path of violence. He was there when those same Jewish ultranationalists, during the siege on Jerusalem, burnt down the entire food storage of the city in an attempt to get people so desperate that they'll violently revolt against the Romans. And then he was there when Jerusalem got destroyed. It wasn't just Jerusalem, of course, the temple. That's, the place where he lived, the place where he spent his time. Everything was destroyed. But then he was also there in this place called Yavne, in which Judaism came back to life. The rabbis came together, Rabbi Yoshua and a few others, and they basically made up a whole new religion that doesn't include the temple. Everything was the temple until then. So he was there. He was there when that happened. And then the last thing I'll tell you about Rabbi Yoshua is that later on, when he was already the chief rabbi, the head of the Sanhedrin, he was also there when the Romans again started making new laws against Jews and killing a lot of Jews. But this time, he actually managed to prevent the Jews from revolting against them violently. And in doing that, he managed to save a huge number of Jews, and possibly the entire line. Possibly we wouldn't be here had that revolt taken place. We don't know. So, this is what I find out, on this mournful Monday. This is the person whose voice is clinging to my mind for 4 decades, saying, take the long, short road. This past summer began for me one day in June when I went to visit our dear friend Frank London. I mentioned him on Rosh Hashanah. Frank is normally here playing trumpet with us. He's this incredible trumpet player. And this year he has to deal with treatment for this rare form of blood cancer that he's getting treated for. So he was home that day, and the treatment had just begun, and he knew that, yes, there's a chance that this is going to work, and there's probably a higher chance that it's not going to work. So I asked Frank, how are you doing? And Frank says, thank God I lived a kick-ass life, because otherwise I'd be feeling pretty bad. He goes on to talk about the deeply lived, adventurous, and surprising life filled with love that he's lived. So all summer long, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, how would I feel in Frank's shoes? Would I feel like I'm living it right or not? And the truth is that this was a hard year to be asked that question. I didn't feel much like anything other than getting kicked in the ass this year. So I needed some help contemplating this question, and I turned to an oracle of sorts, whose name is Rabbeinu Bachye ibn Pakuda, and his 11th century masterpiece, The Duties of the Heart, Chovot HaLevavot. Now, in this book, there are 2 words that he returns to over and over again, and which summarize its message. Lekatzer velemaher. Yeah? You guys want to try saying that? Lekatzer velemaher. Lekatzer velemaher. Bishvilech, Yara. Lekatzer velemaher. Yeah? Which means to shorten or to take a shortcut and to rush. Ibn Pakuda describes our lives as a walk along a very thin cord that stretches between 2 commands. On one side, we see, Al tekatzer, don't take shortcuts. And on the other hand, we say, it's written, Maher, hurry up. We live on the tension between slowing down and rushing. We need to slow down in order to enjoy, to think, to develop, to do things properly. But we also need to rush because our time here is extremely limited and we have a lot to accomplish. Our calculations often lead us to rush towards the wrong things and to slow down from the right ones. In the world of truth, which is the world that Ibn Pakuda is talking about, in that world, we have to rush to do the right things, but we also have to do them right, which often takes more time than we have. Take things too slowly, and the tension on this cord on which we stand loosens dangerously. Take them too fast, and again the cord is undone. This is how he describes the tension at the heart of the believer. Now, if you're like me, you take shortcuts all the time. But when we do this, we don't actually get anywhere. I'll give you an example. I've noticed that when I wash the dishes too quickly, they don't get clean. I see this with my kids. When sometimes they complete a homework assignment because they don't want to get a bad grade. They don't want it to affect their grade. But they do it real quickly, and they don't remember anything. It's as if they never did it, right? The things they do remember are the things they actually, and talk about and learn from, are the things they actually stop and spend some time with. It was actually the same with this book. When I would read really quick to get to the end of the chapter so that I can feel, oh yes, I've made some progress here, I'd inevitably have to go back and read the whole chapter over again because I didn't remember any of it and I'd missed all the good details. That's the thing with shortcuts. And Ibn Pakuda says it like this: Pri hakitzur charata. The fruit of shortcuts is remorse. Here is a simple way that we can all understand what he's talking about. I want you to imagine, this is one that's in the national communal realm. I want you to imagine November 6th, waking up in the morning and finding out that the wrong candidate won. There's a word for that feeling. It's called remorse. Yeah? What are we going to tell ourselves? We'll say, why didn't I go to Pennsylvania and register voters? Why didn't I do any phone banks? Why did I tell myself that it's going to be okay and look at the polls? Now, here's a tougher example. And this is something that I hear a lot in conversation with my Israeli friends and family, but that, to be honest with you, I'm scared to say it out loud here in the U.S. And please don't misunderstand what I'm going to say as an excuse for the horrendous crimes Hamas committed, which I neither excuse nor forgive. And that's not an easy thing to say on Yom Kippur. I don't think anybody in this room denies that Israel has very real, ruthless enemies. But Ibn Pakuda teaches us that a person who wants to make tshuva, a person who wants to repent, has to put aside all the reasons and justifications for their actions. So I ask you to keep that in mind. October 7th is a horrifying example of what Ibn Pakuda calls the fruit of a shortcut. 56 years of occupation preceded this horrific day. 56 years in which people were expected to live without their basic needs. You see, the reason that I find the occupation such a good example of a shortcut is because it asks people to not need what people need: safety, freedom, self-determination. Human beings need those things. There's simply no way around it. You can't, if you're asking a person to not be a person, you're taking a shortcut. These are real people who live there, in all of these places, in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Israel. And even if you want to argue that that Gaza wasn't a real occupation, there definitely was a lack of freedom there and a lack of safety. There's no shortcut around every person in that region having their most basic needs met. The truth is that I think we here in the US have failed our job as Israel's watchdog. I think we've been far too slow to adapt to the shifting reality there. We bought the pundit spins of it's too complicated and there's no partner, there's nothing to do about it, and for the most part, we stood back and supported the self-destructive occupation and the rise of the Israeli ultra-right. One of the standout moments of this year for me was during my father's talk about the West Bank. Amanda, who's here, she told the community that she feels ashamed of her blind support for Israel these last decades. She felt complicit in the unraveling of this place that she loves. Suddenly, she saw a different, more painful, more difficult way to express her love for Israel, which was rooted in a critical approach to the state's behavior. She was moved to that rarest of human achievements to which no shortcut will ever lead you, change. Maher achi, Ibn Pakuda urges us, hurry up, sister, start now. The road is going to be long. Israelis and Palestinians aren't just going to drop their weapons and hug one another because we feel like that happening here. Neither are Republicans and Democrats, by the way. There's a mountain of work to be done, that's clear. But are we really going to not begin again that work because we don't think we're ever going to see, or we don't know that we're going to see everybody getting along? That, to me, is not only selfish, it's also self-harming. We're putting ourselves in harm's way that way. Despair, frozenness, and inaction feel sad and shameful. They make you feel guilty. The road that's easier to walk on tells us that we don't actually have to move so much. We can keep talking and thinking and acting just like we have been. It tells us we were right all along. But how could we have been right all along when we're in the situation that we're in? Didn't we do that? Didn't we bring the situation upon us? Who else created this mess? The road to a different reality, like the process of change itself, is slow. But once we recognize the change, that blessed change that took place inside of us, we can't undo it. Whether we see in the world the results of walking this long, short road or not isn't up to us. What is up to us is which road we take and how we walk along it. Now, this is all politics, but it's clear, I think, these ideas when we think about them on a personal level. We know what really matters in this world, I think. I think we do we? Do people know? Do you guys know what really matters in this world? Well, I would say that what really matters in this world is spending time with those we love. It's touching one another, exploring who we are, developing, being together, giving, learning, experiencing the beauty and the wonder of this earth. When we spend time well, we feel good. I'll say that one more time. When we spend time well, we feel good. Isn't that true? When we choose to think about money or work or the news or our phones or whatever nonsense is going on and distracting us, instead of doing the things we love to do, we cut ourselves short. All this political talk I was just expressing has no meaning whatsoever when we're faced with the loss of one of our loved ones, as several of us in this room have experienced this year. We have to remember that. Our beloveds will die, or we will first, and we will regret it if we didn't spend time with them, if we didn't make up with them, if we didn't connect with them. There really are no shortcuts. If you take one thing from this whole evening, I hope it's my plea that you think for real about where you're wasting your time. Which shortcuts are you taking toward what really matters? The rabbis said, Shuv yom echad lifnei motcha. Return one day before you die. That means today. We have so little time. Make those changes today. Spend your time wisely right now. There's actually no other time. May this year be the year in which we begin to realign our priorities. When we see the alignment between what needs to be done and what makes us feel good. When we slow down the nonsensical running around and instead rush to do the sweet nothings that we're here to enjoy. May this be the beginning of our communal and our personal walk along the long, short road toward peace. May we know that the walk we choose to walk along the thin cord is the best one for our beautiful, wondrous, and strange planet, and the only one that is right for each of us. May we stride forward knowing that we are here to love. Shana Tova.
שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו, וקבל מרחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם. שמע קולנו אדוני קבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו
We turn to page 278, יעלה.
ויבוא שבתנו מבוקר, ויראה עינו עינו עד הערב, יעלה קולנו בערב, ויבוא צדקתנו מבוקר, ויראה בדיוננו עד הערב. איי 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 ויבוא סליחתנו מבוקר, ויראה נאקתנו עד הערב, יעלה מנוסנו בערב, ויבוא למענו מבוקר, ויראה כיפורנו עד הערב. איי איי נאי איי איי ay ay na na ay ay na na ay ay na na 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 ay ay na na ay na na ay na na ay na na ay ay na
Okay. Yeah, that feels it.
Judy, before we call you, I think we need Ki Anu Amecha.
I'd like to invite Ali Cohen to open the ark for Ki Anu, and all of you to please rise with your spirits and your bodies.
This is one of the melodies we receive from the Sephardic community. This is Ki Anu Amecha. We are your people. Bottom of page 278. Please be seated.
I'd like to invite the VAD president, Judy Miner, to say some words.
I will talk directly into the mic. I have finally learned. Hello, everyone. Hello. I have been thinking a lot about persistence and life force. And so I want to share two memories with you. The first one comes from the summer I spent between my freshman and sophomore year of college. I was at Hebrew University in Jerusalem for the summer. I don't speak Hebrew. I didn't speak Hebrew then, speak even less now. The classes were in English, but it was a wonderful program. And one day, I am buying, I think it was shampoo. I'm in a drugstore buying shampoo, and this woman starts walking towards me. Not in a crazy way. She was perfectly sane, but she wanted to tell me something. And she came towards me, and she was speaking in Hebrew at me and telling me something very emphatically. And I told her I didn't understand Hebrew, but that didn't matter. She kept going. And I could tell whatever she was trying to tell me was very important. So I focused in, and I thought, okay, I got to figure out what she's saying. And I finally figured it out. She wanted me to know that I could get the same shampoo at a store down the street for less. And arguably, I learned more about how the Jews have survived for over 5,000 years from that woman than I did from my whole summer at Hebrew U. The other memory I want to share with you is we took this spectacular trip to the Galapagos Islands a couple summers ago. And there was one day when we were on this beautiful island called Isabella on a beautiful hike with our beautiful tour guide, Sebastian. And he took us to this giant black wall. And I don't want you to picture like some gleaming smooth piece of marble on the side of a museum. This was rugged and uneven and porous and rough. You'd scrape your knuckles if you ran against it. But strong. I mean, you could rest a semi against this wall. It was not going to move. And Sebastian told us that this was lava. This was lava stone from an eruption thousands, tens of thousands years ago. And I stood there looking at it thinking, here's this thing that is in many ways a monument to destruction. I mean, when that lava flowed and the quantity to settle and make this giant stone wall, the amount of death and destruction that must have come for all the flora and fauna of that island when we were there, that we saw when we were there, what must have happened. And here it was, this giant black tombstone. And yet, when I looked closer, I saw that there were these little green shoots growing out of the stone. It was the most amazing thing, just these little green shoots everywhere. And I would argue, though perhaps not as epic, but for our purposes, as significant, is the fact that this is the 25th year of the Nushal. Against improbable circumstances, a dream of two women, Ellen Gould and Holly Gawanter, they saw a void. They wanted family. They craved community. They wanted to create something that did not exist at the time. A place that welcomed lots of different ways of thinking about things and lots of contrary opinions and arts and original takes on old traditions. And I promise you at the time they were not thinking, and 25 years from now, they just one foot in front of another. And to anyone who has ever worked in not-profit, my friend is here, she runs a big theater, she knows, so does she know. I tried to get her to give the speech for me tonight, she said no. You know that you are rolling that ball up the hill, up the mountain every year. You are. That's my, Misha, that's my acknowledgement of Greek, your Greek format. I mentioned a Greek myth. We have to start from scratch every year, something that Ellen told me when I took this position. So I ask you to take a moment and think about how you feel here in this room. Aren't we so lucky? Aren't we so lucky to be together and to be safe and well? Even if things are difficult to talk about or think about. And that in this year of such destruction, such fiery loss, such violent, ugly destruction, here's the new shul as a green shoot. It's here, and we want to keep it here just the way it is. So please, I ask you to take a moment to value that, figure out what that means to you in your life, in your personal pie chart. And we gave you the brand new 25th anniversary pledge card, complete with a mini pencil. They're not just for golf. They are also for pledge cards. And on here, you will see an opportunity to write in your information and choose an amount or write in your own amount. And you will also see, we have on here, please circle the type and amount of your pledge. It says one-time donation or 3 years, because this is the launch of our 25th anniversary, 3 Years to Thrive campaign. And hey, that means if you pledge this amount, you pledge to give it this year, next year, and the year after, which means for the next 2 years, if I'm up here or anyone else is up here, you get to tune this out. It's very helpful for us to know what's coming down the pipeline. So anything you can give is greatly, greatly appreciated. I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for being there for the new shul, as you've always been, as I hope you are now, as I hope you will continue to be in the future. Thank you for being there, and thank you for being here. Shabbat Shalom.
Yom Kippur is not easy. It is a long stretch. We are stretching our souls. We're stretching our attention. Take care of yourself. If you need to move around, if you need to leave, if you need to go and make some flowers, take care of yourself to nourish your soul. We have the few of our last prayers where we're starting to solidify our responsibility, our thoughts. We're about to go into the vidui, but first we are going to go to page 442, El Horeta.
הורית לנו לומר 13, זכור לנו היום ברית 13, כמו שהודעת לעניו מקדם, כמו שכתוב, וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני.
ויבוא אדוני על פניו ויקרא,
אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטאה ונקה. אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נושא חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטאה ונקה.
We ask for forgiveness. סלח לנו אבינו, כי חטאנו.
סלח לנו אבינו, כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו, כי פשענו. סלח לנו אבינו, כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו, כי פשענו. כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח ורב חסד בכל קוראיך. חסד בכל קוראיך.
Please turn to page 281. It is one of our main prayers for Yom Kippur. It is our vidui. It is our confession. And we don't say, I have sinned, I have stolen, I have done. We say, we have. It is important that we carry everything together as a community. So we say, although we have not done all of them, we carry it together with responsibility. And in this year, that we had so many opinions and sounds and arguments and love and disagreements and etc., etc. I don't have words, but I feel like the Ashamna together just reminds us that we are one. We are one people. We are one people in humanity, and we carry each other.
Please rise.
Ay, na, na, ay, ay, na, da, 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 ay, ay, ya, da, da, da.
It is custom to beat on our hearts. This year, I offer us to massage our hearts.
Shavnu, bagadnu, gazalnu, dibarnu, dofi, hevinu, vehirshanu, zadnu, chamasnu, tafalnu, shaker. Ay, da, da.
פשענו, צררנו, קישינו עורף. היי לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה. רשענו, שיחדנו, תיעבנו, טעינו, תיטענו.
Please be seated. I'd like to invite Gabrielle Casper to read us a poem by the great Judith Malina.
Shalom. Can you hear me here?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at your. We can let Gab read. No, I'm just looking at this.
Oh, yeah.
We can let whatever is in italics we can say together.
Oh, okay, great. Sentences on opinions. As loud as I can. Differences of opinion about the impact of truth, about the speed of light, about the dietary rules, about the right to keep slaves, about inoculation, about human sacrifice, about the wages of the workers, about the right word, have wounded us in our souls, covered the earth with sanguinary savors, and ruined our love. Differences of opinion about the shape of rooftops, about the definition of the holy, about sexual practice, about killing the brother or the stranger, about killing the rats, about men's penetrating prerogative, about the gender of the cosmos, about fresh or rancid butter, have battered at our outstretched hands, caused weapons to be constructed, and made us miserable. Differences of opinion about the name and number of God, about the length of hair, beard, and hemline, about the meaning of the Mishnah, about the influence of the moon, about the hierarchical procedures, about salt, have embittered us. Come swiftly, O sweet reconciliation. Come swiftly, O sweet reconciliation. Just one more time. Come swiftly, O sweet reconciliation.
I'd like to invite, we're at Ve'al Kulam first. Al Chet, we're at page 2284.
For the wrong we did before you by lying and deceiving, and for the wrong that we did before you by accepting bribes, for the wrong that we did before you by scolding and mocking, for the wrong that we did before you speaking of all the people, for the wrong we did before you in our work and the word.
For the wrong we did before you.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש וכזב, ועל חטאנו לפניך בחילת שוחד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלצון. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחלנו, כפר לנו.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בסטיית רע, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקלות ראש. For the wrong we did before you by plotting against others, for the wrong we did before you by tormenting others, for the wrong we did before you by dismissing serious matters with a joke, for the wrongs we did before you by being obstinate, for the wrongs we did before you by running to do evil, for the wrong we did before you by gossiping, for the wrong we did before you by swearing falsely, for the wrong we did before you by hating others without cause, for the wrong we did before you by betraying a trust, for the wrong we did before you out of confusion, unaware of the significance of our actions.
סלח לנו, מחלנו, כפר לנו. Please rise for the last time for Avinu Malkenu as we open the ark.
I'd like to invite Rebecca Paley and Saskia Rifkin and the Rifkin and Paley families to come open the ark for Avinu Malkenu.
Avinu Malkenu, חטאנו לפניך.
If you read the Hebrew well, I invite you to speak the Hebrew. If you read the English well, I invite you to speak the English. There's one line that we're not going to say today because on Shabbat we're not supposed to be asking for material things. And so you'll see we took out that one line today from the Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have done wrong before you. Avinu Malkeinu, en lanu melech ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, chadesh alenu shana tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, let us do good for you.
Malkeinu, חלק כל צורמסטין מעלינו.
Avinu Malkeinu, destroy every oppressor.
אבינו מלכנו כלה דבר וחרב ורעב ושבי ומשחית מבני בריתך.
Avinu Malkeinu, remove from all your children disease, war, famine, exile and destruction.
אבינו מלכנו סלח ומחה לכל
Give
עוונותינו.
us and pardon us for wrongdoing. Avinu Malkeinu, אבינו מלכנו, החזירנו בתשובה שלמה.
אבינו מלכנו החזירנו בתשובה שלמה לפניך.
אבינו מלכנו,
אבינו מלכנו שלח רפואה שלמה לחולי עמך.
אבינו מלכנו, send healing to all of those sick.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר חיים טובים.
in your book of life and goodness.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר גאולה וישועה.
inscribe as a book of redemption and freedom.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר זכויות.
אבינו מלכנו book as in book of marriages.
אבינו מלכנו כותבנו בספר סליחה ומחילה.
אבינו מלכנו.
אבינו מלכנו שמע קולנו חוס ורחם עלינו.
אבינו מלכנו.
אבינו מלכנו קבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. אבינו מלכנו פתח שערי שמיים לתפילתנו.
אבינו מלכנו.
אבינו מלכנו אל תשיבנו ריקה מלפניך. אבינו מלכנו, תהא השעה הזאת שעת רחמים ועת רצון מלפניך.
אבינו מלכנו,
אבינו מלכנו, חמול עלינו ועל עוללינו וטפנו. אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו.
אבינו מלכנו, חוננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, חננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו.
Mourner's Kaddish is on page 289. I invite you to speak the names of anybody you're thinking of, anybody who passed this last year. I invite you to speak the words with me.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא תברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא
ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה לעילה, מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Thank you. Please be seated. We got one last song to sing with you guys tonight. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning. We're going to start here at 10 a.m. and there's things going on all day long. There's at around 11:30, we're going to have our guest speakers, Osama Iliwat and Rotem Levine. And before that, there's this incredible Torah reading with a play in which Naomi is performing. Where's Naomi? She's here somewhere. There she is. Naomi's performing in a little play to accompany the Torah reading along with Chloe.
We have the children singing Mika Mocha.
Yes, we got all
with
the younger generation doing amazing things, and then that'll be followed by Yizkor. All of the morning events will be followed by Yizkor, and after that, in the afternoon hours, there's a few interesting things that you could consider joining. There's a conversation with Natalie and our philosopher in residence, David Ponet, about what it means to be in the diaspora and what the role of the diaspora is. It's the beginning of a series of classes, the lessons that we're going to learn together, some Hannah Arendt and a bunch of other thinkers. And there's some meditation. There's going to be some study of a piyut. And finally, I think it's at 5:30 is Ne'ilah.
Or maybe later, I'm not sure.
5:30 Mincha and
Ne'ilah.
Immediately after.
With Havdalah.
Yes.
It's a long day, and it's going to be a good day.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם אדוני.
You can find it on page 290. This is a preview for tomorrow.
שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום. שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום. שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום. שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום. שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום.
May we all be lucky to sit in peace and in tranquility and in hope. גמר חתימה טובה. See you tomorrow morning. חתימה טובה. Make sure to look at the beautiful mandala from flowers that was created.
לחזות
ולבקר בחלום